Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a popular festival ends with a deadly attack. Tonight we have an update on the mass shooting in the Bay Area that left 3 people dead, including 2 children. A breakthrough for rhino conservation. The San Diego Zoo announces the birth of a new rhino. Why it could help save a critically endangered species.
So he just pulled up and walked in front of us and said, you know, you're not supposed to be riding those on the sidewalk, so now we know.
How much is the ticket, do you know? Or?
$150.
San Diego police enforce new scooter rules, and now one local leader says she wants a temporary ban.
But it all comes back to providing opportunity. And so the biggest thing in all of this is access to opportunity.
Assistance for entrepreneurs, a program to help turn startups into thriving businesses. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening. It's Monday, July 29th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. New details are emerging about this weekend's mass shooting at a festival near the Bay Area. The shooting happened on the final day of the Gilroy Garlic Festival. Stacey Cohen tells us more about the victims and the response by police.
Gunshots ring out in the closing hours of the popular Gilroy Garlic Festival in Northern California. At least 3 people were killed, a man in his 20s, a 13-year-old girl, and 6-year-old Stephen Romero. The little boy's mother was also shot, but managed to call her husband.
She said that they shot my son and they took him from her. Couldn't believe what was happening, that what she was saying was a lie. Maybe I was dreaming.
Romero's wife is now in a medically induced coma, one of at least 12 injured. Gilroy police have identified the shooter as 19-year-old Santino William Ligan. Police say he bought the assault rifle used in the shooting legally in Nevada just a few weeks ago. Police responded within 1 minute of the gunfire, shooting and killing the suspect.
I can't tell you how proud I am of the officers for being able to engage this guy as quickly as they did, because we had thousands of people there in a very small area, and, you know, it could have gone so much worse.
Police believe the shooter avoided on-site security at the festival by cutting a hole in the back fence. Still uncertain is whether or not the shooter acted alone. Police are investigating the possibility of a second suspect. Stacey Cohen, KPBS News.
The San Diego division of CAL FIRE is mourning the death of one of its firefighters. The agency says the 29-year-old man was taking part in a training hike Sunday when he suffered a medical emergency. He was airlifted to a hospital in Temecula but died this morning. He lived in Escondido and was stationed near Fallbrook. CAL FIRE and the Capitol will lower flags to half staff in his honor. Dozens of first responders were at the White House today as President Trump signed an extension of the 911 Compensation Fund. The bill funds benefits through 2092, essentially making it permanent. Those who responded to the attacks will receive benefits to cover illnesses related to their service. The fund has been depleted in recent years, and some payments were cut up to 70%. Meanwhile, more Americans have died in the war that came as a result of 9/11. U.S. officials say an Afghan soldier killed 2 American service members. No other details have been released. 12 U.S. troops have died in Afghanistan this year. A new study out today looks at how genetics is linked to PTSD among the military. KPBS science and technology reporter Shalina Chatlani spoke with a San Diego psychiatrist who worked on the study.
At the University of California, San Diego, psychiatrist Murray Stein has been analyzing DNA in blood samples, and a lot of them. He's been doing this as part of a national effort through the federal Million Veteran Program out of Veteran Affairs.
So we were one of the first projects to have the opportunity to work with the Million Veteran Program to do analyses with this huge biorepository of data that they'd collected.
The Million Veteran Program began in 2011 as a White House initiative. It's a national voluntary program that asks veterans to conduct surveys and donate their blood. The goal is to create a database of DNA from at least 1 million veterans, so researchers can use it to understand and prevent diseases.
We're looking for genes that are going to increase risk for developing PTSD the same way we might look for genes that increase risk for breast cancer or other kinds of illnesses.
There have been other studies linking genetic history to PTSD, but Stein says this is one of the largest studies. He and other investigators on it are using around 165,000 blood samples. They're comparing the DNA from veterans with repeat PTSD symptoms, such as nightmares and flashbacks, to those without those symptoms.
And as you can see here, there's a bunch of genes that might be involved, and part of the work we're doing is trying to tease those apart. But one of those genes is this gene called CRHR1, which is a stress hormone gene that even before this work was done, people thought that probably had something to do with PTSD.
At the Veteran Affairs Medical Center in La Jolla, psychiatrist Ilanik Levitt says this type of research is promising, though genetics is only one part of the puzzle.
Society, culture, politics, it all interplays in the arena of mental illness. I'm optimistic. I'm also grounded in knowing that it won't change the care I provide in probably the next year, maybe the next 5 years.
And back at UCSD, Murray Stein agrees. He says the risk that any one gene increases PTSD is quite small, but he says the research has other implications.
But as this research progresses, the hope is that we will actually be able to come to a point where we could say that somebody is at significantly elevated risk for post-traumatic stress disorder, and that might impact how they're deployed in the military. It might impact what kinds of preparation those individuals might get.
And Stein says these types of genetic tests are becoming more accessible. Shalina Chatlani, KPBS News.
A historic birth for the San Diego Zoo. On Sunday, a southern white rhino gave birth to a male baby at the safari park in Escondido. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson says the rhino was conceived by artificial insemination.
The birth took about 30 minutes on Sunday, and both mother and calf are doing well. This is the first baby rhino born using artificial insemination at the San Diego Zoo facility. The mom, Victoria, carried her baby for more than 490 days. Victoria is one of 6 southern white rhinos that could become surrogate moms for the critically endangered northern white rhinos. There are only 2 of them left alive. Both are female and beyond breeding age. Zoo officials are working to develop artificial insemination and embryo implantation techniques so they can put a northern white embryo into a southern white female. Zoo researchers have access to frozen northern white cells that they hope will be turned into eggs and sperm. Meanwhile, there is another southern white rhino at the safari park who was artificially inseminated. She is due around September. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
Thanks, Eric. Libraries are about a lot more than just checking out books these days. KPBS reporter John Carroll shows us one branch in Logan Heights that's trying out a whole new idea.
At the Logan Heights Library, the cutting of a ribbon opened doors, literally and figuratively, to a new experience, a new room filled with cutting-edge technology, the David C. Copley Foundation Teen Idea Lab.
The idea of making this place would be nice because more teens like us would have time to make YouTube channels, like in the background over there, you can tell.
This Idea Lab is an incubator for all sorts of ideas these young people can work out with the latest in tech. There are sound recording booths, one for voice and instruments, another for keyboard composition and laying down a new beat. There are 2 3D printers, and there are the state-of-the-art computer stations where teens can do all sorts of things. The favorite on this day? Clearly video games. Looking around this Idea Lab, you could be forgiven for thinking it's all about fun and games, but the director of the City of San Diego's library system says it's really about changing lives.
These are kids in so many areas that they don't have access to this technology. They may not have this in school. They definitely don't have it after school.
Misty Jones says part of the reason the kids here are so happy is that they had a hand in how it came together.
They helped us design it. They told us what they wanted, and we were able to deliver it.
Most of these teens are from economically challenged homes. For them, spending time in this room is fun, for sure. But Jones says the bigger picture is about opening doors to avenues these kids wouldn't have imagined possible.
Even something as simple simple as playing a video game can turn into a career in developing video games. So it's about that exposure and exposing them to ideas they never conceived that they would be able to make a career of.
One room in a branch library. As of today, a place for fun and games, and going forward, a place that will undoubtedly change lives. John Carroll, KPBS News.
The Jacobs Center is looking for the next batch of entrepreneurs. Connect All at the Jacobs Center is a business accelerator program which focuses on helping founders from diverse backgrounds grow their startups. We're joined now by Alex Waters. He is the director of the program. Welcome.
Thank you.
So what makes Connect All unique?
Well, Connect All at the Jacobs Center is the region's first accelerator focused on low to moderate income and diverse founders. And so what we aim to do is really find those individuals that need help, that are looking to scale and grow their businesses, specifically in areas and for individuals that have been underserved.
So growing a business is difficult for anyone. Why is it important to offer this support to people of diverse backgrounds and low to moderate incomes?
So a lot of the times, like you said, growing a business is tough, regardless of sort of what you're doing and what your income level is or your background. But it's specific and unique barriers for individuals from diverse backgrounds and low to moderate income areas, specifically access to space, capital, training, all those different kinds of things that we incorporate at Connect All at the Jacobs Center.
So you're accepting applications?
We are.
So who would be an ideal applicant?
An ideal applicant is somebody who already has a business, so they've started a little bit, they may have gotten a tiny bit of traction, maybe some sales, or they've built sort of an MVP, and they're looking to scale it large enough to have employees. So any business. So right now we have retail, we have tech, we have beauty and health and wellness. So there's a lot of different areas. So it doesn't have to be one specific one, but that's kind of the category that we're looking for.
And if selected, what's the benefit of an entrepreneur being selected?
So first, they get 6 months of space in our state-of-the-art co-working space, which is 4,300 square feet of space. They get training. So we have workshops every week from experts in the field about how best to do different kinds of things in their business. And the last part is that they're a part of a community, right? So they're a part of other entrepreneurs that are actually there doing it every single day. And then we also pair them with mentors. So getting that advice from those experienced people who have been there and done that.
Any success stories you'd like to share?
So there's quite a few that have, done some big things since they've been there. So one, give an example, is Promo Drone. And that is an aerial drone that's looking to sort of disrupt the space of advertising. And so he's partnered with a few different organizations local here. He was just at the Pro-Am, taking pictures and doing things like that. So that's one that I was about, but there's quite a few others.
So what makes this possible?
So right now we are funded through a grant through Housing and Urban Development through the city of San Diego. And they provide those funds for us to be able to do the program.
And the Jacobs Center has done some work with revitalizing communities. How does this fit with that theme?
I think it's all part of the whole plan, right? So you have a lot of the things that they've done, it's real estate, Market Creek Plaza, things like that, but it all comes back to providing opportunity. And so the biggest thing in all of this is access to opportunity. People are great at what they do in terms of wanting to be entrepreneurs, wanting to start businesses, but this is just another opportunity to kind of fit in with there.
So if someone is interested, tell them about how they can find out more information in the deadline.
So for the first thing, they can go to connectallsd.org, find out more information about our programs, and then the deadline is August 26th.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, what sparked President Trump's latest attacks against a black lawmaker? Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Today, police were cracking down on scooter riders in San Diego's beach areas. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman says this comes as a council member is calling for a temporary citywide ban.
In Mission Beach, police are out ticketing scooter riders, part of a targeted enforcement operation.
He just pulled up and walked in front of us and said, you're not supposed to be riding those on the sidewalk, so now we know.
How much is the ticket, do you know? Or?
$150.
Caleb Hall says he recently moved here and did not know the scooters were outlawed on sidewalks.
We could have read the rules. I don't really care. I would have liked a warning, but I didn't know anything about it, so it's just kind of consequences for not being informed.
Across the street, a family got a ticket after their kids rode scooters. You have to be at least 15 and a half and have a permit or driver's license. The tourist who got the ticket said he was not aware of the rules.
How do you really enforce that or communicate over to somebody intelligently? You know, if it's just in some fine print, I'm not going to read it.
Anthony Dazan is another tourist who says he wishes scooter companies made the rules more clear.
There's not a lot of information on this to even tell me where I'm supposed to park it or even do with it.
The enforcement comes as San Diego City Council member Barbara Bree is calling for a temporary ban on dockless scooters. She says too many scooters are posing safety hazards and police have better things to do than chase down violators. But at this point, it doesn't seem like Bree has much support for a moratorium from her council colleagues. KPBS reached out to all the council members. Chris Cate said absolutely not, and Scott Sherman said hell no. Both cited new limits on scooters that just went into effect this month. Jen Campbell says she supports a ban, but only on the boardwalks. The rest of the council either would not comment or did not respond. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
One of the scooter companies, Lime, says the proposed ban would only hurt those who rely on the scooters for everyday travel. Another company, Bird, says safety is its top priority and it will continue to work with city officials. Well, it's going to be a bit cooler at local beaches, but overall, warm and sunny weather will stick around this week. Paul Williams has details in tonight's forecast.
I'm meteorologist Paul Williams. Welcome to your KPBS forecast. We're taking a look at your satellite radar depiction of what's going on, and we're starting to see a little faint hint of early scattered showers for us in the San Diego area. Now, to be quite honest, this is part like the leftover or outside remnants of what's happening with the monsoonal moisture that's really staying more active right across the Arizona and New Mexico line, and really right here in the Four Corners region. But because we're looking at kind of the spillover, you know, when you spray water out of a water hose, it can spill both ways. Well, in a sense, this is a spillover type of an effect that's happening with these scattered showers that's moving across southern portions of California and the San Diego area. The combination here. Now, as you take a look at our expectation as we go into Tuesday, we're looking for the high to be slightly trimmed. It's going to be nice along the beaches, but you'll notice throughout the interior, that's where we're looking for the better opportunity for afternoon and evening thunderstorms to become more dominant. But remember, these are going to be interior storms, not necessarily knocking on our front door immediately. So we take a look at our futurecast and see how this is going to come about starting at 8 o'clock in the evening. We see, as we go through the timeline here, we're looking at it staying very clear here, but we'll notice that we're seeing the bubbling up of scattered showers more so throughout the Four Corners region, and we're just staying relatively quiet here. Dew point temperatures staying in the 60s and 70s here throughout San Diego and Los Angeles, as well as over towards Phoenix. That moisture content is going to become more pronounced for us throughout a good portion of Southern California, where you have California and Arizona connecting. That's where we're going to have more opportunity for moisture. Now, there's going to be enough moisture in place for fog to develop throughout the late night hours at 67 degrees. The metro area for tonight, Ramona, 58 degrees with scattered cloud cover. Then for tomorrow, we're looking for Ramona to warm to 92 degrees. San Diego, 75 with partly to mostly clear skies and a great deal of sunshine. By midweek, we're looking for a cool sea breeze to push through down towards Los Angeles. Once again, more of that monsoonal moisture coming across and moving further inland, so it's not an immediate threat for us. For the coast, temperatures in the 70s, low 80s across the board. Patchy fog, then sunshine for Tuesday, for example, for the inland area. Temperatures in the 80s and 90 degrees by Friday going into Saturday. And then as you go into the desert, we're looking at 105 by Thursday. I'm AccuWeather the meteorologist Paul Williams with the KPBS forecast.
KPBS is part of the California Dream Public Media collaboration. Its latest series looks at San Diego's wellness industry. Tonight, Amitha Sharma talks with Deborah Zake about opening the health retreat Rancho La Puerta back in 1940.
How did your interest in health and well-being get started?
We have to go way back to Brooklyn, New York. My mother was vice president of the New York Vegetarian Society when I was 4 years old. So you talk about health nuts. We just followed the path. It wasn't about, and we were vegetarians. Because of the Depression, the only thing available was bananas. And a full-time diet of bananas was somewhat monotonous. And came the Depression, and my father lost his money in the stock market like everybody else. And he was very, very depressed. And we were not kind of rich Jews, but moderately well-off Jews. In other words, I had a nanny, my brother had a nanny, we had a couple who took care of that, you know. Anyhow, Dad had lost all his money, but when you lose everything, it's not quite all. And one day, Mom came home and said, we are leaving for Tahiti in 16 days. And my father said, where's that? And she said, I don't really know, but here are the tickets. And then we stayed in Tahiti for 5 years. And because there was all the fruits and everything, not vegetables, but fruits and everything was in abundance. And we went to French school, so my brother and I fluent in French, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, we had a wonderful kind of fairy tale existence. And then Dad went home, made a lot of money. Well, when we went to Tahiti, my mother met the man who was to be my husband. He was teaching in Tahiti. And Mom was always looking for somebody who, like a guru. Edmund Seke went to Guadalajara, and Mom and he corresponded, and he said, you know, come by and visit. We started a health camp there and in Mexico. And we arrived in Guadalajara, and his secretary was packing because his father died and he was called back to England. So Mom said, well, we can't leave him with nobody here. And I had just graduated from high school at 16. And let's stay and help until he could find a secretary. And we started Rancho La Puerta.
Why did you choose that area to open Rancho La Puerta?
My husband was an enemy alien. He was Hungarian. There was a war. And we were told by the U.S. government if he was found in the United States June 1st, 1940, he would be returned to his country of origin. And so it wasn't very attractive for a Jew to be returned to your country of origin. And so we went to Mexico. And Tecate had the best climate. So when we got to there was nothing. And I mean nothing. We're talking about no electricity, no running water. We had outhouses. It was camping. And so we set up a summer camp. And the first few years, it was just a summer. But each time, a few people wanted to stay. We had coming to the ranch a number of movie stars. And because in those days, nobody had personal trainers, nobody had massage, you know, they all ate and they drank. And when they had a movie, they would come and stay at the ranch for 6 weeks.
And who were some of the movie stars?
Well, the two main ones were Kim Novak, who stayed a lot, and Burt Lancaster. But then we had all the young starlets.
When people went to Rancho La Puerta and they stayed in the adobe houses, what did they do all day?
Climb the mountain. It's a natural existence. Lived according to what my husband called the natural and cosmic laws. To return to what was our sort of original life.
Why did you decide to open the Golden Door Spa?
Well, because our movie star ladies said, I wish you had a place just for us. They just wanted to relax. We started with 8 guests, a place just for them, and also close to Hollywood so they could be called and they can be there. And some of them, a number of them came together with their coach, and they would be learning their lines and exercising and eating properly and not drinking or anything. And it caught on. I always tell my guests that when you first get out of bed, you don't turn on the radio or TV or pick up the newspaper or this or that. But the first 15, 20 minutes is silence, just you and yourself. There's a kind of special peace, in some ways, a love affair with oneself.
A note, the Zeke Family Foundation is a donor to KPBS. Now here's a recap of tonight's top stories. 2 children are among those killed during Sunday's mass shooting in Gilroy. The shooting happened during the town's annual Garlic Festival, which draws thousands of people. Police shot and killed the gunman. They say he was a 19-year-old man who legally bought his weapon in Nevada. Officials with the San Diego Zoo have announced the birth of a new southern white rhino. It was conceived by artificial insemination. Zoo staff hope the process can be used to help reproduce the critically endangered northern white rhino. San Diego police spent part of the day issuing tickets to scooter riders in Mission Beach. Riding on sidewalks and other violations carry a $150 fine. Also today, Councilwoman Barbara Bree is calling for a temporary ban on scooters due to safety concerns. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.